This week we're going to be replacing this stair rail. Huh? No, we're not replacing it? We don't have money for that? Okay, we'll just repair it. We're going to repair this stair rail. We also redid the stairs here and saved a ton of money by doing so, and it turned out amazing, so stay tuned till the very end for that. So we cut out the rail so we could move sheetrock downstairs and then reattached it together, but it was wobbly before we removed it in the first place. First things first, we need to get this sill, whatever this is called, even. You can see there's a big space there and then it kind of levels off there. So I'm going to add some blocking, which requires me to cut some of this off, and we're going to patch up some of these holes, and ultimately I'm going to lag bolt this down with, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 inch long lag bolts with some really big washers on them. We're going to give that a try. This will still be temporary for, temporary meaning a year or two probably, and this will be a future DIY project. We really ideally want to do the cable rail system with some steel posts. I think that'd be awesome, but I got a quote for that and it was just a little out of our price, our budget for now. So we're just gonna repair this. We're gonna paint it black. And before I go too much into it, you'll just have to watch the video because I actually don't know exactly what's gonna happen and how it's gonna work out. But follow me on the journey. Welcome to the cabin flip. Like all projects, it starts with the prep work. In this case, cleaning up and removing all of my temporary screws. While it looks like I went overboard with these temporary screws, I knew I was going to have my kids running around the next several weeks and wanted this to be as safe as a temporary stair rail could possibly be. Then I'm countersinking these old holes to clean up the edges, and I'll fill it in with wood filler later. To level this rail up, I'm just inserting some scrap 2x4s here. This will also be where I plan to drill in the lag bolts, and it just adds a little bit more structure. Wood filler probably would have done the trick, but I wasn't sure if I was going to have to reuse these screw holes or not, so I filled them with wood just in case. This is a pretty common trick where you stick a toothpick in the hole along with the wood glue, and then once it dries a little bit you can snap the wood picks in half, or in my case I'm going to use some wire cutters to cut them because the glue didn't quite dry enough. And now I'm going to use wood filler to just fix all the imperfections across this entire handrail, including the screw holes, and then many other dents and nicks all along this handrail. So here's all the parts I bought. We'll see what I actually use and what I don't. I'm going to use a couple of L brackets to really get this thing firmed up. And here I'm just marking the holes where I'm going to put the screws. It just makes it easier so I can pre-drill, and this just reduces any splitting that might happen. At the time of working on this, I'm still expecting this handrail to wobble a little bit, so I want to make sure I'm priming and painting underneath the hardware. So as this thing starts rocking, the paint in between the brackets and the handrail will start cracking a little bit, but in this case, instead of exposing a white handrail, it'll just expose more black paint and you won't be able to see it. And at first this was coming out very runny and clear, so I guess I forgot to mix the paint or just didn't mix it enough. So now here comes the real beastly hardware. I'm gonna lag bolt this thing on here, and it's just really gonna reduce any type of wobbling that this has. If you're not familiar with what the blue tape is on a drill bit, it's to mark the depth of my lag bolt, so it tells me exactly how far in I should be drilling. And this blue tape is here so I can actually see my markings on the black paint. I'm gonna get the exact center between these two posts. I think they call these things banisters. Now this was tricky because I bought a lag bolt that was like 8 to 10 inches and my deepest drill only goes to 6 inches. So I was only able to drill down so far. So my drill bit is only this long, but you saw that the lag bolt was like this long, so it's taken quite a bit of work to get this in there. We're on the final run though. I only have 3 brackets holding this thing down right now, and it's way more sturdy than when we first got here and before we took it out in the first place. You can see this, I think it was like an 8-inch lag bolt there. I'm not going to put the 8-inchers in these other 3 spots. I'm going to get a smaller, maybe not in diameter, but at least a shorter one to put across these. Then I have this long metal bracket here. So, and then another metal bracket in the corner. This thing is going to be solid as can be. Before I finish painting the rest of this handrail, priming and then painting the rest of this handrail, I'm going to sand down everything, finish up any wood filler that I missed, and then just go at it. For all of my paint projects, I always use the Sherwin-Williams Infinity because it's extremely durable, it's easy to clean, and it just looks great. Usually you only need 1 coat. When you're going out on a super color like black to white, in that case I'll need 2 coats at least. So here I made a jig out of some 1x2 scrap wood, and what it's going to do is allow me to put perfect placement on top and bottom for my new post. So along with the stair banister, once I ripped up the carpet from these stairs, I realized that there's no way I could put vinyl on top of these beautiful, not hardwood, but wood floors. I do have to admit something, we are hiring out the work for the luxury vinyl plank flooring and the carpet install for the main parts of this house. You already saw where I installed some of the flooring in the bathrooms, but we really need to get this going. We're behind schedule. We are more than ready to start renting this out. With that, the quote for just the stairs alone was almost a quarter of the total amount of flooring for this entire 1,400 square foot home. So by canceling that part of the installation, we already saved a couple $1,000s on this whole project. And from what I'm seeing here, which you'll see the end result later, you're kind of getting a sneak peek of what it actually looks like, but I think this looks a lot better than the luxury vinyl plank. So I'm glad we went with this decision. Some tedious work coming up. Let's hit it. And it turns out that the wood on these stairs is actually pretty solid, even though it's just infested with millions of staples, really. But we're gonna clean this up, see if we can stain it, paint it, and so on. So we have the long crowbar, we have the short crowbar, we have some pliers, flathead screwdriver, wire cutters, all kinds of different items that we try to get rid of these staples the most efficient way as possible. My mom is in town, and thank goodness, because she helped me take care of a lot of this work. She hates being on these videos, so I'm not going to do that to her, but she did 90% of this tedious stuff. You have to sweep these stairs after you do a little bit of work just so you can see what staples you still have left over, because I guarantee you there's going to be 1 or 2 or 10 still left on each step. It gets really hard to pull these staples that have the carpet fiber still under them, so I came up with a pretty cool trick to get rid of those carpet fibers, and that way all that's left is this protruding metal that you can pull out with pliers. So I will have a step-by-step tutorial on how we did these stairs and turned it into what they will be by the end of this video. So click the link right up here in the corner once that video comes out if you're interested in learning how to do this. Also, I should have mentioned this sooner, but if it sounds like I'm whispering, it's because the kids are asleep. It's late at night and I'm trying to get some editing done because I'm behind on some videos. So I have enough footage of cleaning up these stairs to make an hour-long video, but I'm just going to cut it right after this last little bit of commentary here, and let's move on with the rest of the process. Okay, so after a lot of tedious time going through all these staples, which I only did 1 or 2 steps. My mom is in town from Texas and she took care of most of this. So much help. I'm good at getting things 75, 80, 90% of the way done, and then she just tackles it to 100%. What we're left with now is sanding these steps down, which again, she's done most of these stairs here. I'm gonna sand these last 4 or 5 stairs just so you see the process, but it's just sanding, right? So it's 60 grit sandpaper. You can go 60, 80, something that's pretty coarse, depending on what kind of wood and how damaged your steps are. Just sand it down, give it a somewhat smooth finish. Now, these are gonna be stepped on. You don't want them too slick, but we are gonna have carpet runners. We're also gonna be staining it. This is kind of a cabin, so it's not a big deal. They don't need to be perfect. And then their faces here, what are they called? Risers. These we're gonna paint, so we're still sanding them, but it doesn't need to be perfect again because there's gonna be 1 or 2 coats of paint on those. You'll definitely need a mask for this. We're encased in this big plastic dome here. If you line up the holes, then all the dust will actually go to the bag. Not all of it, but a lot of it will. While I don't mind there being a lot of character on these steps, these crevices like this here are actual crevices. They're not just decorative seams or something like that. They're actually something that would collect a lot of dirt, and so I'm going to fill those up with wood filler. If you are going to clean up any of the imperfections, use stainable wood filler if you're going to be staining. If you're just painting all your steps, it doesn't really matter if it's stainable or not. Now it's all applied, so once it's done drying, I'm going to sand over just these spots and then it's ready to be stained. I'll have a link of this exact wood filler down in the description below, as well as the stain color that we chose. We're going with an early American just to match some of the other colors. So I'm going to start with some wood conditioner here, and if you don't know why I'm using wood conditioner, you can go and watch my video linked somewhere up here in the corner or down in the description. It goes into why I use this and what it does, but basically it just takes out any blemishes or inconsistencies in the wood products that you're trying to stain. And then I'm going to go over it. You wait 5 to 15 minutes after you apply the wood conditioner before you apply your stain. And I'm going to use this Early American, like I said before, by Minwax. And then I'm going to go over it with some polyurethane. I'm doing a semi-gloss on that just because it protects it a little bit more than a matte finish would. Let's get started on this first step up top here. And what I'm doing is I'm going to work my way from the top to the bottom and then I can actually exit the house from the bottom and then circle back around up top to go to bed because it's getting late. When it comes to painting the risers, the only parts that are taped off are the actual steps themselves. And I used a Sherwin-Williams trim paint because it's a little bit more durable and you can wipe off any scuffs and things like that, at least a little bit better than some of the cheaper paints. Okay, so we got the stair banister done, which you can see right up there, and we got the stairs done, the risers, and the steps. We decided to paint the risers so it would be a little bit more durable when someone kicks it and scuffs it up. Using trim paint makes it a little bit easier to wash and clean up, but I think these came out great. I'm actually going to do a tutorial video on me doing this step by step, so look out for that video if you're interested in actually seeing the full project and all the details for just the stair steps here alone. Guys, we got the luxury vinyl plank floors installed, the carpet installed, all these stairs done. This place is coming together. We just have this bathroom, the downstairs bathroom to do, and then a bunch of small projects, but this is awesome. It's all almost done. And in the real world, where I'm at right now, we actually have renters coming in tonight, and we're booked already for next weekend as well. I get that that's still like 3 or 4 weeks in the YouTube world, but right now in my life, just thought I would share that because it's pretty awesome. We're really excited. It's working out kind of the way we are hoping for. We do have a roof leak, which is, I should say unexpected, but we kind of expected it during the inspection, but it never leaked for the first 4 months, and now all of a sudden it is, right when we're about to get people in here. But stay along for the journey so you can see all these little nitty-gritty details, and see you next week. Thanks.